Hi there, welcome to Wyckoff Technical Analysis session, Express session for SHIB. So if you're new to my sessions, here are the 3 key takeaways you can find from my sessions. And during the weekend, I'm going through every Saturday, Sunday, about 10 altcoins in total. So that's why they would call them Express sessions. And we are starting with the weekly chart of SHIB here. And over the past 4 weeks, we see it's basically trading around this purple key level of 102 with 4 leading zeros. So I will simplify what I say. I say 102, you know where I'm talking about. This week, however, within the past 4 weeks, is the very first week that we opened below the purple key level, as well as closing way lower than the previous 3 weeks, with the wick also gone through the blue key level of 89. Okay, so that's the bigger picture. We asked previously, how deep this spring will go to. It seems like it's still going to test lower, so that's why I'm keeping the question mark here. We are already in the spring, because this stage is basically a lower point compared to the selling climax during the accumulation period. We have seen similar patterns in the past. Alright, so if that's the selling climax, those are the deeper tests, and we are at a lower low trend currently. Okay, so that's the bigger picture for SHIB before we see a rebound to this level around 14 or 15, like with 4 leading zeros, 00015. That's the center line of the long-term playground zone. So if you ask what's the long-term playground zone, it's basically, during, I don't want yellow, yeah, white. So during the entire period for SHIB since 2021, 80% of the time, SHIB has been trading within this long-term playground zone. The low points are the ones that go below the center line. The center line doesn't have to cut the playground zone exactly in half. It has to land on where the most frequent peaks and valleys touched on. So that's where it is. As of now, that's the very first point we hope to see, and that may be the next sign of strength or backup or last point of support stage what ended up be around. Okay, let's get to the daily chart now. Previously we said that SHIB is basically going through a downtrend, and because there are only very few reference points, we don't know how steep is the slope or the rate of the decline. Right now, given the rebound that happened yesterday, we can comfortably adjust this trend box or this mini air hockey table. So the idea of these channel boxes is that it encapsulates the trend where the price actions bounces off between these 2 edges as well as the center line of the box. Alright, again, this is similar to the center line of the long-term playground zone, that it doesn't have to cut the box exactly in half. The key here is that if I turn it to a line chart, you see the bouncing movements among these 3 lines. Okay, currently it's bouncing off from the ceiling right now, these past 2 days. So it's a normal tendency for it to come back to at least the center line or even the bottom edge. So when this continues without breaking above this channel box, while we're talking, let me change this back to the usual color that I use. So if this continues, we are going to head to, once again, the blue key level. That's around 89. we were asking previously, where the selling climax or spring would end, given we have passed these stages and gone lower, right? If this downtrend is not broken, if this continues to trend all the way towards the right hand side, that means the selling climax and the spring hasn't appeared yet. So let me explain why there are two scenarios, one red and one yellow. The reason of this is because, let me turn this to completely zero. Over here, the October 10th event, that crazy day, might have triggered the selling climax. That's scenario one. And then we had the automatic rally the next few days, essentially second test and subsequent tests, all along October. And now we dip to a point where that may be a spring. Okay, that's scenario one. Scenario two is that what happened on October 10th only triggered the first leg towards the actual accumulation, meaning that entire period over there, this period, was only the preliminary support period, and that we are only seeing the selling climax now. If that's the case, what's happening here is that, I'll take out this part. What we have seen yesterday is basically automatic rally, but in the red scenario. Alright? So what that means is that it's very likely for it to come down and maybe even lower than the selling climax over here. Alright? That's the different observations from this recent price actions. And you have to understand that Wyckoff wasn't designed for day trading. Okay, it's designed for a longer timeline, maybe weekly or monthly. Imagine like 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. We don't have these charts. People won't be trading in the frequency like we're doing today. So that's why when I apply this on the daily chart, based on the community request, it's more like an exploration, an experiment. So be mindful here, we are just experimenting. Okay, so that's where SHIB is heading. So we hope to see it breaks outside of this box, and there are two opportunities. One, when the ceiling crosses this blue line somewhere near December 10th or near the end of the year. But we're still far from then. So by the next week or two, we will see whether it is still trading within this triangle or has it break outside already. If it does break outside, it can continue to trade sideways. That's one possibility. Or it can start to go up to show a sign of strength. So that's if we go back to the left, that's somewhere around or between the red key level of 113 and the orange key level of 129. You see this bunch of activities over here. Okay, that line is pretty thin. That's what I'm talking about. Somewhere during June and July just this year, not very far back in history. Okay, that's the level we want to see in order for a further recovery to happen. In the weekly, that's going to be even more important, because in order to get back to a sign of strength level, it has to go all the way to the yellow. We were just talking about the red and orange earlier in the daily chart. So let's see whether the accumulation is going to finish soon, or are we going to see a prolonged accumulation like what we have seen in 2002 and 2003. Good luck, and thanks for joining me. See you in the next session.